Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my session today. I'm Kate from What Kate Made. I hold crafting workshops here at my home, which is in Ellswick in Lancashire. If you have seen me before, you'll know that I'm a bit of a crafty butterfly. I do a little bit of everything. Today we're going to look at beaded pendants. So if you bear with me, I'm trying to bring it up live so I can see what you say. There we go. Right, so when I'd say beaded pendants and charms, so basically things that you can hang off a bag or put on a chain around your neck or put on a bracelet or various other different things. And today I'm going to concentrate on ones that are some animals and like flowers and little angels that are quite cute. So I'm just going to show you the ones that I'm going to demonstrate to you today. So the first one is these little tiny flowers. So they've basically got a flower shaped bead. They've got bits of glue sticking off them still, but there you go. Flower shape. Oh, get them in the right camera. A flower shaped bead with a little stamen coming down and little silver caps on the top, and they are joined together, the two of them, with a jump ring, which is around one of them little round silver rings. We're going to be using basic jewellery making equipment, pliers, wire, and a few sort of big items that I use just for jewellery. The second one I've done, which is quite good. I'm not 100% pleased with it, but say what you think. This is a cat. Now, anybody that's got cats would probably love one of these, and you could hang it off your bag. This one, the only thing I struggled with were ears, and I ended up with, I don't know whether you can see that, little hexagonal beads because I didn't have anything that looked like ears. So this is a black one. The one I'm going to do today is a tawny one because I only had one of these big black beads. What else have I got? I've got an angel. These are very popular. Again, it's using the same flower bead I used for the flowers. A little pair of wings charm that I got off the internet. A pearl bead and a tiny little, trying to get you in the camera so it's focused. A tiny little spacer on the top, which provides a sort of little halo, if you like. The other one I'm going to demonstrate today, 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth one. This is the dragonfly. Again, this is quite a difficult one to get right, but because the wings are hard. My second pair of wings are a little bit floppy on this one, but again, you can see it's really nice. So a word about equipment. I'm going to be using some jewellery makers pliers. I've got 3 pairs, but you really only need 2, and they don't have to be jewellery ones. You need a pair that will nip wires, and you need a pair that will crunch. So these are called needle nose pliers. You get these in toolkits, as ordinary toolkits, as you do with these ones that are snippers, wire snippers. Like the other pair I've got here is really for jewellery making, and you can use these are round, so you can use them to wrap round to make rings or loops on your wire. We need wire. I've got various different types of wire here. This green wire is what I use for making flowers, so we're not going to be using that today. But this is a thicker gauge wire. It's very pliable. I'm going to get some out to show you. It will be easier because this is folded, so it tends to get stuck in the bag. Move everything out of the way. So this is the thicker gauge wire, and it's very pliable. I think the hardness of wire differs a lot, but this is a very soft one, so it will bend and twist. And the other one I'm going to use today is the same, but very fine. I don't know if you can see that. And that's a florist wire, but that's handy if you want to tuck things inside the beads. So talking about beads, I recycle a lot of my beads. The beads, every one of the beads I'm using today, almost everyone, it's a few I've bought, a few glass ones I've bought, I recycle from old costume jewellery that I pick up at charity shops and car boot sales. And with that in mind, because I've spoken about this quite a few times, I'm going to show you first what I do with some beads. So I've been shopping this morning to the charity shop. I bought several others, but I bought this, the very long strand of beads, which consists of, I don't know whether you can see the colour very well. They're kind of, can you see that? They've got that sort of sheen on them. And I saw them and thought, of the shape. Oh, dragonfly wings. So what I'm going to do today is show you how I take the jewellery apart. I mean, it's very simple. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it is slightly more complicated. This one I'm going to show you now. I don't know whether you can see, but in between each pair, there's knots. Now that means that you can't just snip through it and the whole lot will fall off, which is quite obvious. That happens with other beads. However, for what I want to use them for, which is my dragonfly wings, they're ideal because I won't need to join them back together. They're already joined. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Taking the label off that. So I'm going to point the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Just bear with me. Okay, so let me get you in the zone. Oh, I always want to move the wrong way in the camera. Right, so it's handy to have a tub. In fact, that one isn't such a good one because it's too big. Let me just bear with me, get my other smaller one. I'm just going to say hi to a few people while I get myself sorted out. There's Irene and Rosemary, who are two of my regulars, and Janine. Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Virtual Village Hall. Hope you enjoy what I'm doing. So I want to reuse nearly every bit of this except for the string. So I don't know whether you can see that. There's a tiny, tiny knot there. What I'm going to do is cut through that first knot. And as you can see, that first bead has come off. So they have holes through the middle. Now the next set, normally what I would do is cut each knot and get each bead off. But the next set I'm going to leave in a pair because, and you have to cut the knot beyond the second bead if we can. Very carefully, because I want to keep that as a... Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, well, never mind. Well, I'll have to wire them, which is a little bit more difficult. So basically with these, all you do is you remove all the knotted cord that's in between them until you've got all the beads off. I'm not going to do them all because it will take a long time. I also keep all of the fastenings and the jump chains and the lobster claws because you can buy them, but why buy them if you can get them for free? Well, not for free, but you know, nearly for free. So that will make the fastening for another necklace, and I'll keep that. I'm not going to cut any more of these beads off just now because you don't want to watch me cutting beads up. But that's what I do when I buy beads, strings of beads, and I cut them up and then I store them all in. Can't see any. Let me find it. I save these tubs that your coleslaw comes in and that you get takeaway sauce, and I store them by colour. So that's my blue pot. Although a purple one's correct. Okay, right, now let's get down to some crafting. So I think as I've cut these, they don't show very well on my blue cloth. That was a bit of not very well thought out, was it? I will do the dragonfly first. So that's the dragonfly charm. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see its tail is made up of a variety of green beads, graduating up in size, different shapes to make the sort of tail bit. The body is a sort of, I can't, rhomboid bead. It's sort of like that shape. I don't know what that's called. Then the wings are these flat ones, so they're very similar to the ones I've just cut off. So what I'm going to do is use probably two of the bigger blue ones. These ones didn't work very well. They're a bit floppy. So I'll replace them with two of these green ones. So my next dragonfly will have bigger wings. The head is like an oval shaped bead that's faceted, so it gives it that nice. I haven't put eyes on it because you could put tiny, tiny seed beads, but they're quite difficult. You have to glue them and they look a bit clumpy. At the top, there I've made a loop with the wire and I've put a jump ring on it. And then you can attach to that a lobster claw, or you can put it on a chain. I'll talk about that when we finish. So we'll start with that. So I need two wing-shaped beads, large ones, two smaller wing-shaped beads. So I'm going to do these two green ones. I really need to get something where you can see a bit better. Doesn't matter. Beads for the tail. Oh, this is my glue gun, but you'll be able to see them better. So I've got four of the flat oval beads for wings. I've got that nice crystal shaped bead. I'll use that for the top of the top of the tail body. I've got a bead, an oval shaped bead for the head. I've also got these two. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with them. And I've got another one. I might need a few more beads. I might need to just rummage around in my box and find a few more. But I will get started and show you. So first, for a start, I'm going to use a long length of wire because I like to have plenty to play with. So you can see that my dragonfly is that length. What I'm going to do is just take about an extra centimetre and cut my wire through with my wire clippers. I'm going to start at the bottom of the tail. So I'm just going to, so my beads don't run off the end, I'm going to put a tiny little loop on the end. Some of this you probably won't see, it's quite small, but I used the rounded end pliers and just twisted round until I've got a loop. Can you see that? Yeah. So at this point, I may squeeze that a little bit with the flatter pliers, just because that's going at the bottom. I just want it to stop the beads going off the end. I don't want it to be too prominent. Okay. So as I looked at my dragonfly, I started it with these tiny little sort of diamond shaped beads. I'm going to put that on first. And then I think I'm going to go with this long bead. You see that? This is one I actually bought. It's a glass one. It came in a kit. I think somebody gave me it. I'm going to thread that on that way. So the narrow point is downwards. So you can see I'm starting to get the shape of the tail. Then I'm going to go with round beads, I think. I'm just looking. I might use some blue ones because I've got a mixture of blue with my wings. So I'm going to go into my blue pot and I'm going to pick out, I've got lots in here. I'm going to pick out one that's got like is dark with a pearlescent sheen, and a similar one that is smaller and lighter blue. And then I think I'll go with a sort of sky blue as well. So I've got quite a mixture of colours there. There's loads of lovely beads in there. I'm changing my mind now. I'm going to take that long one off and go for this one because then I'm keeping the graduation in size going up. There are 5 beads on my dragonfly. That has got wide enough, I think. I think now I need to go with this one, which is a sort of long rhomboid shape. What do you think? Or should I? Oh, no, actually, I think I'll put that one at the bottom. See, this is what you do. You think you know the order you want to put them in, and then when you actually do it, you think, oh, that doesn't look right. So we'll start with that one, because that's sort of tail-shaped. Then I've got my little, I don't know what shape that is. And then these 2 crystal ones. Some of these are plastic, some of these are glass. Nearly all of them are recycled. And then I'll go with that nice blue one. And I'm going to finish it with this crystal green one, the body shape. So you see you've got a nice tail shape there. And it is a nice mix of blue and green, as I've got blue and green in my wing shaped beads. I'm just going to pop that there, pop the beads down it while I show you how I wire up the wings. Now, this is where we use the finer wire, and you have to make an end to it. I'm just wondering if I've got... Right, so another thing I've been using are these earring pins. These might just be better with this one. Now you can see that they're like a pinhead. They're used for earrings. Then the little flattened head, they're called flathead pins. The little flattened head stops up the beads running off. That might be better to do the wings with. So you can see, if you can see, it's the flat head on the other side. And they won't do for the other wings because they're much trying to decide. Then I think I'm going to need to wire these together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put the wire from one into the hole of the bead of the other. But I don't think it's going to fit. It's not. So I'm going to have to use the fine wire to wire them together. So I'm getting a silver wire, the fine florist wire, and using the stalk of the, it's not going to work. I'm going to go back to idea A, plan A, which was to use this and to wind the end, you know, like we wound the end of the thicker wire, just to make a little stop so that it doesn't just run right through. So where I've twisted it, it's made a tiny, tiny loop. I didn't see that. And I'm going to put that through my wing and see if that will hold better. Tuck in any stray wire ends. Don't think there's as many of you out there this afternoon as I normally get in the morning, but there. So that won't slide off now, but this wire is much more flexible. So what I'm going to do is start wiring it on. So pull it as tight as you can so that your wing's sticking out sideways like that. And just give a couple of twists of wire around where it comes out of the bottom of your bead. This florist wire is very flexible, and as it is, you can tighten it much easier than the other wire. So that's gone through there. So then I'm going to put the other wing on the same bit of wire, and I'm going to nip that. I'm going to make the twist first because that will make it easier. So I'm going to twist that round and then make a twist. Twisting the wire just stops it going out, your bead dropping off. Then give it a snip. When you're using these snippers, a quick tip, if you look at them, they've got a curved side and they've got a flat side. Put your flat side as close as you can to your end of your wire, and it will nip it as close as you can. If you go the other way, it won't. It will nip it, but not as close. I've discovered that. That's just experience. Then I am just going to bend down that bit on the end so that it's just tucked away. And that's your first pair of wings. So your second pair are exactly the same. I'm going to get a fresh piece of wire because I used most of that. And these beads are much longer, the blue beads. So I'm going to, again, turn the end of the wire. Give it a little nip. And then put it through. As you can see, these beads go from top to bottom. Yep, that's going to hold. Wire that wing on just above the others. So I'm wiring it quite high up, and then I'm going to push it down. Push the wire together. It's easy to do. I have no fingernails again at the moment, so it's easy to do it with the pliers. But all I'm doing is pinching those wires together to make a little collar around the big wire. And then stretch it out and thread the other wing bead on. As we move on to other things, a lot of the techniques are the same. So, you know, I won't go through them in as much detail because I'd basically be repeating myself. So nip that, wrap the wire around it, and then twist it. So just turn it with your pliers. You get like a twist of wire at the end. Use your nippers, flat side down. And then we can just bend over those ends so that they hold it securely without stabbing ourselves with bits of wire. That's always a good tip. And they will bend and flex a little bit for you. So there we've got our, oh, that one's could be a bit tighter. Or maybe do that and swap them over so it tightens a little bit. There we go. Body, wings. What do we think? The wings will move a little bit. There's really very little we can do about that, except maybe put a dab of glue on. But I'm trying to avoid the glue because it's a little bit messy. The last thing is your head, which is that sort of oval shaped faceted bead, like I said. So you put that on, and then you form your hanging loop at the top. We do that in the same way as we've done all the other loops. But as you can see with your pliers, as you go down, they graduate and get wider. And because we want a wider loop at the top to enable us to put a, my words are going, to put, you know, a clip on it or something, or fasten a chain through it. I'm just going to make that wider than I did with the others. And then that last bit of wire, I'm going to twist it round using the pliers again, just to form a little collar. Sometimes you need 2 pairs of pliers because it's hard to grip with the beads. The beads will just slip. Just see if I can get that to do what I want it to do. Usually a bit of squeezing helps. I'm not an expert jewellery maker, as you can tell. I'm a bit of an amateur, an enthusiastic amateur. I am. Jack of all trades, master of none, quite literally master of none. It's proving very difficult at the moment, but I'm going to just, what I don't want to do is it to come unravel. I think we'll sort of go with that at the moment because it has twisted to a certain extent, and I shall just give it a good nip to hold it closed. So there you can see we've got the little loop on the top. Now into that we would put a jump ring. I'll talk a little bit about jump rings because you can buy all sorts on the internet, but I found the one that is most secure is the hardest to fit because it's so fiddly. Now it is this one, which I don't know if you can see that, but it's shaped like a miniature version of one of these, like you put on a key ring. So you have to open it and then slide on your loop. And the easiest way I found to do it, and please be very careful, I use a craft knife because it's a very narrow blade and it'll go into the jump ring and separate out that tiny end. You're not going to be able to see this, so don't worry about it. And then you have to sort of pull the end open with your craft knife. It's very difficult, and I've done it loads and I'm still rubbish at it. And then feed on the loop that's on the top of your so bear with me while I do. Once you've got it started, it's not too bad. You can get your pliers in it then and just run it through. There we go. So I don't know whether you can see that, but it's split and you just run it right through like you do when you're putting a key on a key ring. Now the reason I use these, even though they're quite difficult to use, is that they are the most secure. So they are the most secure when you have they won't come off when you've got something else fastened onto them. My wings are a little bit skew with, but I think it's nearly there. I'm just going to try and push that top pair up a little. There we go. I actually like that one much better than mine I made earlier, because the one I made earlier is wings keep moving. So, sorry, I'm getting out of your range. So you can see that's the 2 dragonflies. Right, so that's it. That's the first one, the dragonfly. So next one I'm going to show you is the cat, because they're very, very similar. They're both made with a long piece of wire. Cat's got a bit of gluing on it. So let me find my beads for the cat. As I said earlier, I'm going to use brown beads and do like a tabby cat because I haven't got the black beads. I quite like the idea of the black beads because a lucky black cat. But, excuse me, I'm going to have to take a drink. My throat's getting really dry. I made myself a cup of tea just before we started. So with the cat, you start at the end of the tail and you work your way down with beads gradually getting bigger. Then this oval shaped body and a round head. And these are little spaces that come between beads on various different pieces of jewellery. And I'm quite pleased with these ones because they've got little diamonds on them. That cat makes it quite a luxurious cat. However, for this one, I've got some different ones. And I am going to need to spread these out so I can see what's in them. I'm getting a bigger tray. Okay, so I've got in this a selection of black and brown beads because I thought tabby stripes, I want to stripe it. And you start with your smallest beads, but again, you make a little loop at the end of your piece of wire. I'm going to take about, I don't know, about 6 inches of wire. That will be enough. The long pieces of wire are a bit difficult to work with sometimes. And this has got a little bit of a kink in it, which might upset the beads. But I'm going to take a tiny loop at the bottom again, so the beads just don't just go like scooting off the end. Give it a little bit of a nip to close it up. There we go. Don't know if you can see that. Tiny loop. And I'm going to start with my smallest beads, which is a little tawny seed bead, which I can't really show you because, again, as I said, there you can see tiny tawny seed bead. Then, because I'm doing black, tawny black, I'm going to go with the tiny black one next. So our cat will have a striped tail. How are we doing for time? We're all right. Oh, if you're out there, you could give me a shout if you want to comment. I can't see your comments today. I'm struggling to find the hole in this bead. Tell you what, I'm going to go for one where I definitely know there's a hole in it. Just bear with me. They're proving stubborn today. I will hold it in my... Do you know what? This is really hard today. It's because the black, I think, because I can't really see the colour very well. There we go. So I've got a black one and a tawny one. So I'm going to go for another tawny one, which are easy to get. And I've got some little sort of goldy, bronzy ones as well. So I might put one of those on. And then I'm going to gradually start to get some size going up. I've got one here that is kind of wood. That's the brown one. So I'm going to put that on next. I don't know where my bigger black ones have gone. So I'm going to stick with the brown ones now. So we're gradually getting them so that they're wider for his tail. Actually, no, I've changed my mind. As I said before, I'm going to stick with the narrow ones for now because I want quite a long tail. So that's another bronze one, another black one. Because I don't know whether you can see on mine, but he's tailed quite long with the narrow ones. And I'll just put a thicker one near the base where it's going to join to the body. I do like seeing your comments. Usually, they're very positive. So keep them coming if they're positive. Oh, how are we doing? I think we've probably got a long enough tail there. So I like to put a little twist in the tail so it looks like he's waving his tail at you. That could be anger. Amanda says she's hoping she can repurpose some beads soon. I'll tell you, it's amazing. I mean, I think I spent today £9 in the Red Cross shop. So that is £9 for the Red Cross. And I got probably the equivalent of a full pot of beads. Fasteners. I don't know what it would have cost me if I'd actually bought them. Instead of, I think I've nearly got enough beads on there. Bought the beads off eBay, for instance. Even the cheapest of beads would have cost me a lot more than that. So now, as I said before, I'm going to finish off with a slightly larger bead for just where it meets the body. So that's a decent size length of tail, I think. So that's about 2 inches. So this is the long bead I'm going to use for the body, sort of a barrel shape. And then for the head, oh no, we're going to put a collar on it first. No, I don't think we will. I think we'll just put the head on. I've got another brown bead I did have. And then you're going to put your loop at the top. So again, I'm going to use the wider part of the these round-ended pliers, and I'm going to put my loop, and I'm going to wind it this time before I cut it off, because then I get a bigger. I think I cut it a bit short last time, and it was too difficult to do the winding. Just flatten it a little bit, and that will keep it in shape. Then I'm going to just nip that off, like I said before, putting the flat side of the pliers against the bead, and then just squish it in. So Rosemary works in a charity shop. Now that's interesting, because I used to work in a charity shop as well, and it was great. That's where I started getting beads. So can you see that? The cat shape. It's very simple, and to form his tail up, we just bend the wire and then give him a little bit of a twist back that way. Now, I said before about ears. It's difficult finding the right shape of bead for ears, so I've gone with just sticking two little. I'm going to stick two little black ones on. I'm going to use my brand new glue gun, which created a lot of envy on Saturday at my workshop. This is a cordless glue gun. It's the best thing since sliced bread if you're a crafter, but it just needs to warm up a little bit. So I'm going to use these tiny little black beads. I'm going to pick them out and then move this carton out of your way so you can see a bit better. And they don't look particularly ear-like, but they will give the impression of ears, which is, what we want. I might have to come back to that because my glue gun's taking a little time to warm through. So then we would fasten a jump ring on the top, or we could fasten a lobster claw. It still needs a jump ring. Now, a lobster claw is a fastening like this that I took off this necklace earlier. And it's got a little hinge on the side that opens up the fastener, like a lobster claw, which is why it's called the lobster claw. So I'm going to use that. And my glue's hot now. So I'm going to put the glue on the head rather than the other way around. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue where I want the bead to go, because it's easier to stick the bead on the glue than glue the little bead and then try and get it in the right place. Whereas with this, you can just pop it on. Now, today's not going well, I have to say. If you're new to this, you're going to think, oh my God, what's this woman doing? I'm usually a bit cleverer than this. Let's start again. More glue on, and then I will chisel it off later. This is hot glue, which, as the name implies, is hot. I'm always burning myself. So just be very careful. I'm going to put that back on its stand now, because that's the only glue I'm going to be using. It's a revelation. If you've used a hot glue gun, particularly when I'm demonstrating like this, it's always in the way of the wire. So that's your cat. I think you see it very well. I'm struggling with this navy blue cloth. I thought it was a good idea, but it's not. There's your little cat. So that's two we've done. So we've now got a cat charm, and we've got a dragonfly charm. The next one I want to show you is the angel. This is the little angel. She's made with one of these flower beads. Now, you'll have seen me use these flower beads before, and I said I didn't know where I got them from, and I tracked them down on eBay, and they were called, I think, petal beads. Anyway, I will put the link on my page, what Kate made, and I'll put the link on there. So if you want to go and find them, you can. So it's got, I don't know if you can see, it's got the little petal flower shaped bead, which is going to be its skirt, and it's got a tiny cup shaped metal one, which separates the skirt from the wings. The wings are bought, that's their set of charm wings, and they have a hole up the middle so the wire can go through. That's just a pearl bead I recycled, and then there's a tiny little spacer bead for a halo. So for this, I use one of the flathead pins again. Oh, the other, no, I'm actually going to use the other sort of pin because I want to show you this, because it doesn't really matter with the what you can see with the angel skirt, because it's hidden inside the skirt. So this has already got the loop formed on the top. These are called loop-headed pins. And I am going to start top down and then fasten it. Oh, I don't know how those little bugle beads are going there. Fasten it. So these are my beads. So that's my flower-shaped bead. That's my spacer for the halo. That's the tiny cup bead. These probably had a bead sat in them like that on a necklace. This is the wing bead, which I'm going to just hold up for you. Can you see it's got between the wings? I don't think you can see that. I'm trying to get it to focus. It's got a little hole where you'll see when I put it together. So we start with the last bead to go on, which is the spacer. That is the halo. Can you see it goes on the loop, so that's quite good. Then the pearl bead for the head. Then the wings. Make sure we get them the right way up. Then the little cup that goes on top of the skirt. And lastly, this one's dead easy. Lastly, the skirt. Now, what I'm going to do is, if I can, I'm going to get in and twist this. And I did it the other way. It was easier. And I am thinking about doing it the other way again. Because you want to twist it so that it will hold inside. It's a bit tricky, but we want it to go inside the skirt. It's just a case of just wiggling till you get it. These pins are a bit stronger than I'm used to. Might just cut a little bit off the length. Where's my nippers? There we go. And then it will twist inside a bit easier. Oh, that's a tough one. So sometimes the wire goes. It's proving to be quite stubborn, that one. Well, it might bend a bit better as I've nipped it part way through. There we go. It's going now. So I'm bending that. So it goes inside. Oh, it has come off now. There we go. So it goes inside the skirt. Sorry. See, I'm going to go back to using the wire we used earlier, because I thought those loop-headed pins would be easier, but I think it's just going to make it more difficult, because now I can't show you what I wanted to show you. Bear with me just while I get this off. Sorry, talk among yourselves. I hate it when something goes wrong when I'm online. There we go. When I'm online. Let's start again with the wire like we used before. So I'm going to twist it. We're going to go back to doing it the way we did. So I'm putting the twist on. That's going inside the skirt, so that disappears. So now we're doing it cup next. You would think I didn't practice all of these, and I did. Well, obviously did, because I've made several of them. with my clumsiness this week. But there we go. That's better. I was trying to save you time and making loops. Trying to get it to focus. She looks a little bit like she's bending over, but we can straighten her up. Now, again, we're going to put that loop on the top for threading our jump ring, and twisting it to form, and then cutting the excess wire off. Just going to give that a little bit more of a twist. Just make it secure. There we go. And then just pinch it closed, like we did earlier. It is all a bit fiddly, and it's quite difficult to demonstrate because a lot of it's tiny work. And you can't get focused enough. But that is your angel charm, which are cute. We've just got time. I've been on 40 minutes. We've just got time to show you the flower one very, very quickly. I'll just do one flower. Again, we're using these beads. And because I didn't want a white flower, I wanted mine to be have some colour in it, some pink. What I did was just colour the bead with a Sharpie pen. So that's a nice bright pink Sharpie. And I'm just going to colour those bottom petals sort of quite a bit of, not evenly, just a bit randomly, because flowers don't grow evenly. But it gives it a nice sort of ombre effect towards the tips, and just makes it slightly different from the angel bead if you're going to string all these together. So that's very easily done. It dries very quickly. The stamens are flat-headed pins with a couple of seed beads on. So I have chosen a sort of dark burgundy one and a very sort of pink glass one. I'm going to put 2 stamens in. I'm going to thread the second pair up the same as the first pair. First one, I mean. And then the 2 stamens, we make a tiny loop with our, these pin ones, make a tiny loop at the top so that we can then string them together with a bit of wire. That's one, and also it keeps the stamens on. The beads on the bottom, I mean. So there we go. 2 loops at the top. Use a bit of the fine florist wire. Making sure these are tightly closed, because they will. It is very fine wire, so I'm just going to give that a bit of a nip so it's quite well closed and the wire won't come out. So I'm going to loop them together with the very fine wire so that we can then hang them from the flower. Just give that a couple of twists to hold them on. Yep, there we go. So they are going to go inside our pink flower. Got 2 ends now, so it's difficult to get them through. I'll cut one. So that goes through the hole in the top. And it's not cooperating. There we go. That should do it. I want it to come all the way out through the top so you can see the stamens hanging underneath. Sorry, I keep going too high. You jiggle and it jiggles. And then you want to go through the flower, the This again is one of those cups that holds beads on a beaded necklace, and I'm going to give that a bit of length before I make the loop, the hanging loop. At this point, you could put a dab of glue underneath the top cup, between the cup and the flower, just because it will make it a little bit more stable. This isn't cooperating again. Trying to get this loop. There we go. So you've got your little flower bead, these little stamens hanging underneath. So I think that's about our time. So I'm just going to leave that there. The last thing I want to show you is very quickly how you can use your beads. So you can use it as a pendant. I bought these chains ready-made when I was making lots of pendants with buttons. You would just, that won't go through because it's got quite a large loop on the top, but you would just feed the chain through and hang your pendant from the chain. You can also, as I say, put the lobster claw on, then hang them from a bag. So if you were using the cat and the dragonfly ones are a little bit large for using as pendants, but you can use them to clip onto a bag as a bag charm, or you can put them on a key ring. That one's got a lobster claw on it as well, much bigger version. That one is just a split key ring like that, so you could just use that as a key ring. But what I have done, which is an idea I really like with smaller charms, is I bought a kilt pin just off eBay, not expensive, and my son's getting married this year, and the idea I wanted with this was to make something for the bride. Kilt pin's ideal, or a big safety pin, because she can put it inside a dress, and I'm trying to pick things out that either reflect her or something old, something new, something borrowed, etc. So I've put a nice blue bead on, and I've put this little angel which says an angel is watching over me. One of the angels I made, I put that on as well. I've also got a little heart one because they're in love, and a little one which is these are just charms I've bought off the internet. Little tiny bride and groom, possibly one of her initials. Her name's Emma, so I might put an E on it as well. So so it's nice if you're going to give something as a gift. It doesn't have to be for a wedding. It can be for a christening gift or a baby shower gift. I mean, it would be nice with lots of little baby charms on it. But they're quite nice. And that is nice for a bride to pin inside her dress, either on the bodice or under the skirt. So she's got something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So let me just tip the camera back up so I can see you again. Well, you can see me. So I hope you all enjoyed that. I like, as I say, I don't do a lot with jewellery. I do a lot with beads. So I'm just very basic skills. But these are nice things you can make for yourself. With very basic tools as well. Again, just your pliers and a piece of wire. And some old jewellery. So I hope you've enjoyed that. My next, I think I've got a few more dates booked for in May with the Virtual Village Hall. 12th of May, 11 o'clock, which I think is a Monday. No, it's not. It's Thursday because I had to change my work days. That's upcycled garden lighting. So basically, I'm going to be making things to light your garden from upcycled materials. So using candles and using some solar lights in ways that maybe you wouldn't quite think of. And then on the 16th of May at 4:30 and the 30th of May, I'm doing Jubilee crafts. So home decor and party items for your Jubilee party. If you're going to a Jubilee party, that'll be nice. So that's what's coming up. It's been very nice to speak to you all this afternoon. I've quite enjoyed it, although my finger ends are a little bit sore. And so I'll sign off now. I'll pop some things on my Facebook page if you want to take a look at that. I'll add the link later. I will try and reply to all your comments. I do like to read back through them and reply if I can when after we've finished the broadcast. So I'll say goodbye. Have a lovely afternoon, and I'll see you soon.